episode of the Player Spotlight Show where we shine the spotlight on a player from the Women Futsal Crazy League. And in today's show, we've got Anisha Chaudhari from Ocelot FC. Hello, Anisha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? How you been doing?
Been good. Pretty good considering all things.
Yeah. How you been keeping up since this all this whole thing, the coronavirus and the lockdown has taken effect? How you been holding up?
Pretty all right, actually. Like, generally, like the work from home situation is not ideal, but it's been working, and we're quite lucky that we moved house like 2 to 3 weeks before the whole lockdown happened. So
Okay.
because we're in the new place, it's like, yeah, you don't feel that, oh, you're stuck at home because it's a new environment.
Uh,
And yeah, we're quite lucky that, everybody has their own space for their calls and for all the work that they're doing every day. So it's not too stifling yet.
okay. And have you been doing any exercises? Played much football?
So football, not so much because like it's really hard to play with the 5 people limit.
Yeah.
So like I have kicked around a couple of times with some friends, but it's like no chance to play like a proper game. And I mean, I try to keep up at home, try to do exercises like those hit type of videos, but it's not the same compared to playing football twice a week. There's no replacement for that.
Okay. And I understand that because working out at home sometimes can be a bit challenging. You need to be, really focused and disciplined to actually follow the exercises and do it. It's different
Yeah.
from when you're playing football or going out to the gym or something like that.
Yeah, you don't really realize you're exercising when you're playing football, whereas if you were to do it yourself, it's like a conscious effort.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that as well. Okay, so tell us, where are you from?
So I was born in India, but I moved to Singapore when I was 6. So like basically from Singapore in that sense. So I've been through like the full like schooling system locally.
All right. Okay. Didn't know that. I thought you were born in India and you were from India and all that. All right, cool. What do you work as?
So official title is account strategist, which tells you very little.
Yeah.
But essentially I work in like the online advertising side of things, like the sell side of online advertising.
Hmm. A company, do you have a company name? I'm sure you do.
So yeah, I work for Google. So basically just
Google.
working with yeah, like working with the tier one publishers that are selling ads on their space and making money through all those annoying little pop-ups on their page.
Oh, yeah, we get that. And about yourself as a footballer, how do you develop this interest in football and when do you start playing?
So I started playing in like primary school because
Hmm.
at like the condo which I stayed in had a lot of little kids, like about 15 to 20 on a like average day of us would like end up playing sports together. So we just kind of jumped around different sports, and football was just one of the many sports we would play. And I guess I was also going through a bit of a tomboy phase back then, so I was like, yeah, I love football because it's so cool. And like, I mean, I did genuinely enjoy the sport as well, like when I started, but then like I think that's what kind of pushed me to like actually try playing the sport. And then a couple of years down the road in Sec 3, they started football as a CCA in my school.
Okay.
So then like for Sec 4, I had formal training, which was like the first time I had proper skills and drills and stuff. And then I played football in JC. And then ever since it's just been very recreational.
Okay. Which school were you in?
So I went to Victoria Junior College.
Okay.
So we played like 11-a-side football there, and that was like the most intense football I have ever played. It was like 4 times a week training, 6 months out of the year, and like we took it really, really seriously. So I think that was like really essential to like my understanding of the sport, my kind of like actual tactical skills rather than just kicking the ball wherever and whenever.
Uh,
And yeah, I think like that helped me build the foundation. So like even now when I moved to like five-a-side with Ocelot and Hildering, it's not too difficult for me to change pace because I have like that foundation understanding of like how I should position myself and where to run and just be strategic about everything.
Okay. So when you were in secondary school and you first started your formal training of football, which school was that, first of all?
That was in Cedar Girls.
Oh, Cedar Girls. Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I used to be in St. Andrews Secondary, so that's quite nearby.
Uh, Neighbors.
Yeah, yeah. And okay. In that at that time, were you playing in any school games, national games?
Yeah, so we played in nationals, like, because it started in like the November of Sec 3. So we trained for just a few months and then we took part in nationals. But it was kind of unfair because like our team was full of like my team was basically just all the kids that were from track and field that didn't make it to the national team. So we had like a whole bunch of sprinters and like really fit people. And we had two people, in fact, that were in the under 16 national team at that time for that year.
Okay.
So even though it was our first time taking part, we won. And like it's like minimal effort kind of win. But because it was just like a brand new CCA then, it wasn't like so stressful. So we were like having a lot of fun during trainings and like still just picking up the sport. What is the right way to kick the ball and very basic things.
Okay. And so you said that you won the nationals tournament, the girls' nationals tournament.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Uh, that was 2011. So it was the B division, I think,
Yeah.
for the secondary school
Second
division.
boys
Yeah.
division. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's really a revelation. Learning something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were playing 11 aside, which position do you play in?
So I used to play center or left defense, and that is entirely because my team was filled with track and field, like basically all the fit people from track and field. So I was one of the very few that wasn't from like a sports background. This was
Okay.
like my first formal like sports training, not just football training. So I was very, very, very unfit. So like defense was kind of like the okay, you don't have to run as much here.
Uh,
And like as the trainings went on, my coach, because our coach was like really very strategic about everything. So even defenders would have their separate training. And
mm,
then he realized that I can actually pick up tactical things a bit faster rather than like even if I'm not good at fitness. So then he started putting me more in like center defense. So then at least even if I'm not able to run, I can call the shots and like tell
yeah.
people where to run and help settle that defense line. And after that, like after Sec 4, because we kind of had the same coach in JC, he
Mm.
followed us to JC. So he knew how I played. So I stayed in defense the entire time I was playing 11 aside.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. As a center back, you need to read the game. You need to be able to read the game and then you direct everyone in front of you. Yeah, that's an
Yeah,
important attribute to have as a center back. Were you placed in center back because you're tall?
I think so. Yeah, part of that is also because I was
It's a
tall.
very common reason. I was told for many years to play center back, and I was very stubborn. I wanted to play as a center forward only. And it was only later at about Sec 5 that okay, let's try my hand at center back, and I played there and I enjoyed it. So yeah, I
Yeah,
get what you
it's
mean.
a different kind of fun to play center versus forward.
Yeah, yeah. It's different because you don't get okay, yeah, you don't normally score a goal, but you stop others from scoring. That's a different kind of joy you get.
Yeah.
Not many can relate to that. So when you started playing football, how did your family react to it?
So they were actually surprisingly like relaxed about the whole thing.
Hmm.
So like like I mentioned, I was going through a tomboy phase at the time. So
Yeah.
like I refused to wear skirts and dresses, and they were like very annoyed by that whole thing. But when I told them I'm playing soccer, they were just like, "Oh, okay, have fun." Because I mean, I would go down to play sports every day anyway. So it was just a bit like there was a bit of a soccer, like would you be the only girl there? No, okay, then it's fine, have fun. Like that was the extent of the judgment. So if like even now, because I mean it's been a while since then, so
Hmm.
when I tell them I'm going for soccer training, they're not too concerned about it. It's like not
Hmm.
like a oh, what will people say, or like so old and still playing football. I think like their biggest concern these days is just that they hope I don't get injured because a year and a half ago during the D2D tournament, I sprained my ankle so that I couldn't walk properly for a few days. And they're like, okay, so maybe it's time to stop playing football and like, take care of your health. But other than that, they've been pretty understanding about it. Maybe
Okay.
not necessarily like embracing it, but they
Uh-huh.
weren't like, mean about it.
Okay. That's at least that's encouraging because
Yeah.
coming from an Indian family, it's typical that they will tell the girl, you shouldn't be playing football. It's not a girl's sport, or who's going to marry you and all that kind of things. It's all very
Yeah.
typical. So yeah, that's nice to know that they are encouraging at least.
Yeah.
And
Like even now they will be like, it's cool that you play it, but don't start with the fact that you play. Like when you meet new people, don't be like, oh yeah, I love playing football. Like ease into it. It's okay to reveal it. Just ease into it.
don't joke them with that. Not many can handle it. Okay, what are some of the challenges you face as a women footballer?
I think just like the main one is just being dismissed, just completely just straight off the bat, just dismissed. It's like, yeah, you know football, but like you don't know as much as I do. It could be like random people will be like, yeah, okay, you've been playing for a few years, but I'm sure it's like, you know how to kick the ball. That's probably what it is. They don't really see it as like yeah, maybe you actually have some sense of like, strategy or tactical knowledge. It's just, okay, I know you play it, but I'm sure like mentally you can tell like they know that they're better. And I mean that might be true, but it's always a very dismissive tone, especially from like guys that actually do play football.
Hmm. Yeah, I get that. Any other challenges you face besides being
I think
dismissed?
I think like generally it's, yeah, like I feel like that's the main one that I've gotten. And like I was actually thinking about this, and I remember there was this one incident when in uni. So there were a lot of like those day tournaments in uni. So there was this one that I was the captain of my kind of like the residential hall type of thing that I
Hmm.
was staying in. So the captain of the guys team and I, like captain of the girls team, we kind of had an arrangement where we would just have posted in the group chat if we're having a training, and then each other's players can come for the trainings. And then this one day I was a bit late for my training, so I told my teammate to like just, get started. And then when I showed up, I saw this guy leading the training, some guy I've never met before. So I was
Okay.
like, what's happening here? And he's like, oh yeah, I know. I was just like teaching them some drills. Like, yeah, just go warm up and you can join us later. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm the captain. I'm leading this. And he's like, yeah, no, that's fine. But like, I'm just teaching this drill, and it's so important to know this drill. And like, he starts like mansplaining it to me literally. I
Okay.
was like, okay, I get that you know what you're doing, but I also know what I'm doing. I've got like my drill set up and everything.
Hmm.
And he refused to believe that I would actually have drills set up
Oh.
for like just like refused to believe that I could have come up with my own drills. So then the next time he showed up to our training, I was like, okay, you just sit there, you can watch, you can give advice from the sides, but you're not leading the training.
That's well done.
It was so bizarre because it was just like the confidence he had that, I know more than anyone
Hmm.
around here just
Yeah,
because, I'm a male and you're not.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, I've seen that a bit as well. Yeah, it's not very nice to be dismissed like that. Yeah, I agree. I feel, women footballers, some of them are probably even more skillful than men. And tactically, I think this is an area that is not really spoken about a lot. That women footballers do know their way around the game, the tactics, the strategy. This is a point that's not spoken about a lot. I think most of the time it's dismissed as, oh, okay, women, you're watching football, but you're watching it because you find so and so good looking, or that guy's hot,
Yeah.
so you're watching it because of that. So that kind of dismissiveness is prevalent in this industry.
Yeah, and actually, even with the fans, not just the players,
Mm,
like even though both of you have watched like the same number of games for the female, they're just like, yeah, but you don't really know what's going on.
yeah.
Do you even know what an offside is? It's kind of hard.
Okay, moving on to your team, Ocelot FC. What have you found enjoyable playing for them?
I think it is like it's a really nice balance of like formal training as well as just like having fun and keeping that friendly environment because I mean, it is just like a recreational club, so you are just there to like just play the sport. But it's really nice because I mean, firstly, you've got like a regular set of people that go for trainings,
Mm.
so it's like it's non-committal, but at the same time, people enjoy it so much they will come regularly, and you kind of have that network of friends, and it's just it's a more supportive environment than if it were just a bit more casual, I guess. And definitely, I enjoy the formal drills and the training because I think it helps you appreciate the sport a bit more. And I think it also helps newbies get into the sport a bit faster and a bit more effectively versus if they were to just play recreationally from the get go.
Uh,
Like, definitely, yeah, five-a-side is more fun than just doing drills,
yeah.
but it is definitely effective. Like, I always see the benefits of that, the boring part of the training in that sense.
Okay, so as in everything in this life, there's pros and there's cons. So what do you find challenging about playing for Ocelot?
Challenging, I guess it's just because it's quite infrequent. So if you miss one training, you're kind of out of it for like a good 2 weeks. So getting into a regular groove can be a bit of a challenge, especially when you're working and you just kind of don't have a choice. You have to stay late sometimes, and you know there's just always things that get in the way. So that's one of the biggest challenges, just keeping up especially in the fitness side of things. And hmm, not many other challenges really.
I would
Like
I
it's
would think so. Yeah, I think that would be a challenging question as it is for you to answer.
like it's a pretty low maintenance type of a situation. So it's like, yeah, I think even the drills itself aren't too like complicated or difficult for you to come in from like even I mean for me because I've done drills for like many years, so it's not too difficult to get into the groove. But like there are a lot of people on the team that have never like this is their first time playing football, so it's not too complicated for them. And yeah, it's not too like fitness wise challenging. It's a good level of challenging where you're like actually forced to work out.
Okay, but I thought you before this whole period, I thought you girls were training once a week,
Yeah, once a week.
every Monday, right? Yeah. So if you miss
Yeah,
1 week, you basically just
you
miss one
effectively
week's
like
training.
2 weeks. Yeah, you miss 1 week's trainings, but it's like by the time you exercise next, it's 2 weeks later. So that's why.
Unless of course you have games in between, then yeah, you got to
Yeah,
play. Yeah. Okay. So do you watch a lot of football on the TV?
I don't.
Oh, you
I
don't.
I never got into watching football.
So you're not much of a diehard fan waking up at 3 a.m. to catch your team play.
No, like at the most I'll watch some of like the World Cup matches, but I support the teams like on a whim. I have no logic for choosing them. It's just
Okay.
like 1 year I really wanted to learn Spanish, so I'm like, okay, I'll support Spain. That's the extent of it.
Okay. All right. I was just going to ask you if you have any favorite teams, but I guess not, right? Any favorite players that you admire one way or the
Unfortunately,
other?
not. I really have not watched any matches because no one in my house watches as well. So it's like we
Okay.
don't even have the channels, and like
Oh,
there was no reason to get into it.
okay, okay. Understand. Moving on. What do you make of the league that you play in, the Women Futsal Crazy League?
Oh, I really enjoy it. Like, really, thank you so much for like organizing it. It is so much fun, and it just helps you kind of get a goal to work towards. Because I mean, trainings are fun, playing is fun, but when you've got that motivation to like play matches and like you have that basically it's a goal, right? You're working
Yeah, yeah,
towards something,
right.
and it just also forces you to get better because if you're playing within the same group of people week after week, you kind of know where you stand. You kind of stop pushing yourself after a
Mm,
while. But if you play with other teams, you kind of see like, okay, I've got like so much more to go. I've got so many things more to improve, and like it just helps. Also, like it's a different change of pace when you're playing with other people. You kind of get to experience different playing styles and practice different things. And yeah, I really enjoy the competition element of it. It's not too bad. It's like not too competitive, but it's fun.
Not too hostile, I hope, as well.
Not too hostile, yeah. No, it's nice. And like even after the games, like quite a few of the teams are like friends with each other.
Yeah,
Like, some of them come for our training. So it's like a very friendly environment post game as well. It's
yeah.
quite cute.
Yeah, that's the nice part of this league. I really like the atmosphere that has been built over the years in the league between the teams, the players. They know each other and they can mingle, intermingle, and it's a nice element. I think the only thing that's probably missing is probably having a nights out for everyone.
Yeah. Like a
One big
dinner
collective
and
nights out where
dinner
we
and
could
dance
hand
band.
out hand out the awards as well in the same night.
That'd actually be really fun. Like you just book out a full restaurant and you just have all the teams there.
Yeah. The only issue is that there will could be teams and players that might not turn out in full numbers. So yeah, so it's a bit
Yeah,
of a
that's
chicken
true.
and
It's the
egg
coordinated.
situation. Yeah, so you've played in the league with two teams now. What would you say has been the most memorable experience in the league for yourself?
I think like so the second time, which is like the recent time, I think must have played like one or two matches before like it stopped. So
Hmm.
the first league was a bit more memorable, but it was yeah, like it was a very different experience because the team I played with the previous time was like a changing group of people every week, different people, because it's
Hmm.
like everybody was really busy and they couldn't commit. So it
Hmm.
was like you kind of just show up and you're like dealt the cards on the day, like this is the team you're playing with, this is the team you're playing against. Versus the second time round, it was a bit more fixed on like who is in the team and like how the team plays with each other is a bit more solid as well because we trained together for so long in Ocelot. So I liked, like, it was like an exciting thing in the first league because you really don't know what to expect. Like, there's genuinely zero expectations, but that also made it a bit more fun. And I mean, I really liked that the final, like, there was that. I mean, yeah, there's the normal league matches throughout the few months, and then there's that one day tournament where
Yes,
it was like a separate competition.
yeah,
So that was quite cute because it's like
the cup.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, I quite enjoyed that. It's like a nice little shake up on the day itself.
And the first time you played in league, was there a bit of a culture shock for you coming to a league like that? And then as you said, you got players that you've not met, and then you see on the day itself quite some unfamiliarity going on.
Yeah, like it wasn't, I wouldn't say a culture shock, but it was like a different, like definitely a different experience because like coming from like 11 aside, we've been training for like 6 months with the same group of people. So it's really fixed, solid, who's playing what position at any given time.
Okay.
Versus here, it's like you don't even know who it is, let alone what position you're gonna play.
Mm.
So it was like it definitely forced me to step out of my comfort zone when it came to playing football because there were instances because I'm so used to playing a defender, but there would be instances where they will like force me to just play up front and I have no choice because like we don't have any subs. So it was quite fun because since then I realized that actually it's not too difficult to play up front and I've just been like selling myself short. I can actually give it a try every now and then. So it's yeah, like I quite enjoyed that surprise element of things.
Okay. So, do you watch a lot of matches in this league? There's a Women Futsal League. So maybe after your match or before your match, do you watch a lot of those matches that are going on?
Like I watch them if we're there, like if we're
Mm.
waiting for a match or like post
Yeah.
match, but I haven't gone on like other days to come and watch the
Yeah,
matches.
of course. I don't expect that anyways. Any player or players that have impressed you in the league?
So personally, I like as I said, like surprise element before, like I don't know very much about the other teams because they're all intimidating to me equally. So I try not to like get weighed down on like the okay, we have to win this match and we can afford to like draw this match. To me, they're all scary. We have to win every match.
Mm.
But like I think one particular player, I'm forgetting which team she's in, I quite like is Tina because like she's also come for our trainings as well. So like I feel like I have a bit more of like a closer view of her skills. And I think she plays really well, regardless of what position she's in. And she's one of those really good playmakers. So if she's like playing defense, she knows how to create the game, create the flow of the game, and like direct the ball and tells everybody where to go. And she does that in a very effective manner, which sometimes other people might not be as like, giving of the ball. They will want to take the ball and score the goals themselves.
Yeah.
But she's very like good at redistributing it and creating the game, creating the flow.
Yeah. So
And
good at
like, I mean, when she plays,
distributing it and running to make the space to receive the pass
yeah,
back. Yeah.
like when she plays with us, she's like quite mild toned down. So when I saw her in like matches, I was like, oh my god, this is terrifying.
Yes, yes.
It's sometimes,
That's
oh
that's an
yeah,
element on its own. It's a
yeah.
force of nature.
It's like you think, oh yeah, it's a familiar face, that's less scary, and then you actually see her play, and you're like, no, this is worse. This is worse.
Okay. Getting back to the point on women football, what changes would you like to see made on for women football?
I think like women football, just they don't really have as many opportunities. So like from the friends that I've seen that like are really into football, it's either you go join a club and you really, really commit to it, or you give up sport altogether. There's very little room for an in between. So there's like, I think Hilderink's done an amazing job of creating that recreational football space for women, because it is impossible to find that. Like if you're not in school, it's so hard to find women to play football.
Yeah.
So I think just having a bit more of those kind of like that recreational football and like helping people keep up with like regular playing of football, as well as helping other people get into the sport, would be like amazing.
Yeah, that exactly is the thought behind this league, because I noticed that there is a space, a vacuum between players that play for schools, the tertiaries, and then there's a gap. Then if you play for a club, then okay, you've got your 11-side league, but those in between, they've got nothing. So once you leave school, once you leave your tertiary education, that's it. You don't have anywhere else to go, and then just everyone just falls off by the wayside. So that's why we have this league.
Yeah. And like, I mean, there's those day tournaments as well, but they're not as like, that's a different experience. That's just like a one-off thing. This
Yeah,
is like a
correct.
bit
And
more
that
regular.
just comes and goes. You don't know when, there's no regularity to it.
Yeah. So these
Um,
are more fun.
Pardon?
These are more fun.
Yeah. So in this league, actually, I've noticed that there are not many players that are Indian origin in this league. I can't say why, and I mean, this is not probably not a place to discuss why that's the case. But if you have any advice or message to give anyone that's watching this, any Indian girl watching this, what would it be?
I feel like one of the key hindering factors as to why a lot of Indians don't get into football is because they don't want to get tanned, like just sports in general. So that's why I would say five-a-side is great, because it's not out in direct sunlight. You don't get tanned, and we play at night, so it's fun. But I think generally, because the sport has such a masculine energy around it, it's very intimidating for a lot of people. And in like Indian societies, it's also more like, women should be like feminine and
Yeah,
stuff. So having places where it's just like women playing football and it's not like a mixed kind of thing, it's easier for them to get started and it's not as intimidating. And just, I don't know, like my impression of like the sport has changed quite a bit, especially after playing with Hildering, because you've got people from all ages that are playing there, and you're like, this isn't like a gender specific sport, because you've got like moms that come with their little kids that are still playing and are like, super into it.
yeah,
So I think just realizing that it doesn't have to be, or rather learning that you can just kind of play the sport at your own terms. So if you're scared to play with the guys, you can come play with the girls, and you can still have like a really good time. And
yeah.
it's not any less masculine or feminine when you're doing that.
Yeah. True, correct. I feel in general, I mean, I feel the Indian community girls get into sports. I mean, if you love sports, of course, don't force yourself into it if you don't love it. But if you want to try out a sport, just try any sport. It doesn't matter what it is. Just try out any sport. If you're good at it, you're good at it. You're not, okay, never mind, try something else, or just at least give it a shot. So that's
Yeah,
what
and
I
like
feel. Not many people are actually going out there to give it a shot. They're apprehensive, they're scared, and then you have your pressure from your family, the elders, putting you down, pulling you back, saying, "I don't do this, don't do that," and all that. So I
yeah, it's
think
like
that
that
for
fear of
starters,
looking
just get into
silly.
sports.
Yeah. And like getting over that initial fear of looking silly, because everybody is, like everyone starts somewhere. So it's not about whether you're good from the get-go. It's just pursuing your interests, I think.
Yeah, even if someone was to go and do yoga or weights training in the gym, you would of course got to start somewhere. So you got to start somewhere low. You do you carry some very light weights, or you might not look too good in the poses. Someone got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any last words for the viewers? All
No,
your
no
feelings.
last word. I miss playing with the team. I really hope we can get back to playing really soon. And I hope the viewers get to watch some matches soon as well.
Yeah. I hope so too. Doesn't look good, but fingers crossed. Hopefully, sometime this year, maybe we get to go back on the pitch again. And yeah, so that's about it. Thanks a lot, Anisha, for taking time out to speak to us.
No, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm quite honored to be featured here.
My pleasure. And anyone viewing this, there is a quiz at the end, or rather, it will be posted with this trailer of this interview, and in that, you get a chance to win a $20 dining voucher at Sahara Bar and Restaurant, which are the sponsors of this show. So look out for the question to that quiz, answer it, and you stand a chance to win something at the end of it. So you're not just answering for fun. Do it. All right. Have a good day ahead and have a good week ahead. Till I see you again.
You
Take
too.
care.
Good, good seeing you. Really good chat.
Yeah.
All
Same
right.
here. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.